Welcome, New York City and my listeners around the world. This is your host, Elizabeth Tripp. You're tuning in for a live edition of Nourish the Soul here at Gotham Podcast Studios in New York City. I'm so excited to be here. It's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of my favorite nights of the week because I get to bring all of you on an extraordinary journey of self-discovery as we look at different aspects of our life journey and begin to see them as tools to uncover our true self, to really break away from limiting behaviors or beliefs. And at the real core, I love to take a look at food and the body and really see these two aspects of our own journey in our life as these beautiful extensions to seeing ourselves more deeply, more truly, more authentically. So, welcome all who are tuning into the show. I'm a light worker and energy healer based in New York City. I have a private practice called Nourish the Soul. It is a beautiful space where I bring clients in and we really get to the root of your imbalances in all encompassing areas. But, many of my clients come with their own sort of struggles with food or body or relationships and career. And these link points are just access points for me to help them really begin to learn their soul's lessons. Why we've been drawn to my work, why we're here. Well, there's something greater than ourselves that has brought us here. And in that belief, I carry that into my work as I work with spirit and spirit guides to begin to help channel the right information to my clients and my listeners who tune into my broadcast, to be able to help them see themselves in a different way. So it's such a blessing for me to be able to shift people's perspectives and to really connect with source energy and spirit world so that I can bring a new light to what you're currently challenged with or that you're struggling with. So I provide people with alternative solutions, people who are really ready to see their life differently and in a big way. So when you work with me, there's opportunity for you when you commit to this to really discover a permanent solution to what you're coming up against and rediscover your divine purpose. What makes you truly happy? What makes you feel really healthy? What brings vitality to your life? What energizes you? And as a result, how can we then transform you to be the best version of yourself? I couldn't think of a greater purpose for myself. It brings me so much joy. I have so much passion about it. And that's why I love doing these live broadcasts. It's again this incredible opportunity for people who tune in on the live or even people who download the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Podbean, all the different sites that the Nourish the Soul is available to. So I love hitting the easy button as I empower people to really see the endless opportunities that are available to themselves on this, spiritual quest that you can begin yourself on. So I want to welcome you guys to March. March is the theme is friends and family. So with this theme, I've actually decided to extend an offer out to clients, new clients and clients that I currently work with, that when you refer a friend or family member to the practice in the month of March, you actually receive a $50 credit and you get a 2-hour free session with me. So that's valued at $400. So any client or new client or person who's prospectively thinking about my work and tunes into the podcast and knows somebody that they really feel like could benefit from my work who are ready to take action, you refer them to me and you get this bonus $400 value, a free session for yourself to actually take action and break through anything you're coming up against, a struggle, a challenge, body, food, career, relationship, whatever it is. and you get $50 off your next time you work with me or on a package deal that you decide perhaps to invest in. So that's an incredible deal, and I want to spread that message out there because it's not something that I do very often. So it's because this month is friends and family, and we're gearing up for an exciting month. I'm actually bringing on a guest at the end of the month. I'll give you a little bit of info. I won't tell you who it is, but this guest is really exciting. They're based out in LA. They do a lot of spiritual work. They're actually really well known. They have a very large following in their on YouTube. Group that follows them. So they have a lot of people around them and listening to their messages and in great alignment. They're in great alignment with Nourish the Soul in their mission to really raise the consciousness of the world and allow for our life experiences to serve as these tools to see ourselves more clearly. So I'm super excited about this guest. We just got off the phone a couple hours ago with like, this is so synergistic. We can't wait for this to happen. So end of March is when I'm going to be bringing on the guest. And guests for me are kind of a rarity because I'm really picky about who I bring on. So this is going to be a great show, an opportunity for you guys to learn more about this person, their practice, their beliefs, and their story, their own spiritual journey, because this person is very spiritual and they have a lot of stories to share. They're an incredible story and they make spirituality easy. And that's what I love about the work. It can be easy. So many people think that when they do this kind of work, when they start to uncover, past hurts or pains, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. And I always pause people to that and I say, let's just look at it this way. If we're climbing up a mountain and we say it's going to be hard, then we're likely thinking in our head, I'm never going to make it to the top. But if we climb up a mountain and we say to ourselves, this is going to be uncomfortable, we know that, yes, there's going to be, challenging moments, but that we never are saying, I'm not going to make it. So we're just simply, okay, we're recognizing it's going to be uncomfortable. But we're not actually taking away our power. We're not going to get to the top. So I always say that, yes, these sessions at times may be uncomfortable. The work may be uncomfortable, but we make it easy by allowing you to see that you can always make it to the top. If you do the work, you will break through your limitations. It's a guarantee that I offer clients. It's something that I am straight shooting with people when I talk to them and I say, what do you want to accomplish? And they say, well, can you help me? And I say, what are you willing to do? What's the amount of effort you're willing to put into the work? And that's where I can then adjust or see where we can go. So that's so exciting. And a lot of people love it. I've had this incredible influx of really highly committed and motivated clients, which has really brought such joy to me and excitement because I love helping people who are ready to take that action. So, what are we going to do tonight? Well, tonight we're actually going to be exploring. We're going to explore the inner alchemy. Oh, what a cool word. I'm going to talk to you guys about alchemy, what it means. There's a story behind that. So, we're going to look at the inner alchemy of health and family. Wow, that sounds like really, really exciting. So I can't wait to bring you guys on that journey, really talk to you more about that. And so thank you. Hi, Alyssa. Hello, how are you? Great to see you from Virginia Beach. And hello, Steph. Thanks for liking the live. So feel free, if you like my show tonight, share it. It helps spread my message, my work, and it allows for more people to begin to hear more about what Nourish the Soul does. So, the alchemy of family and health. Okay, so we're going to be looking deeper, looking closer at family and the challenges we often come up against when we face our family units. So when we look at our families at a whole, I don't think I've ever met one person who's ever said like, my family doesn't have any challenge, because I'd be really curious to meet you. I'd love to know what these enlightened beings are like, because even as the spiritual teacher and the transformational coach that I am, I can say that my family has dynamics, and that I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I didn't have challenges in the unit, the family unit that I have. This created the person that I am because I had to work through those challenges. So we're going to be looking at like how we deal with these challenges, and how, when we either don't, well, when we deal with them, what happens, and when we don't deal with them. So when we don't deal with these challenges and we kind of take learned behavior in the family to not deal with these challenges, what impact it has on our health, on our well being, and particularly for our whole family. We're going to be looking at our whole family, because one thing that we're going to be seeing is that families tend to have, um, they call them genetic predispositions to dis-ease, or to certain types of illnesses. And I want to take you a little bit on today, because it's a very big topic and in a vast, broad way, and it's deep in a lot of aspects. Just begin to lay the foundation of understanding that from a spiritual perspective. So looking at the spiritual roots of dis-ease in and among families. So sometimes we see, families will carry similarly the same kinds of dis-ease, and whether that be that, certain families tend to carry collectively weight in each of them, or then they have a predispositions for prediabetes, and then they have heart disease, and we think, oh, well, it's just genetics. Well, I want to actually help, sort of broaden that discussion, and enlighten you all into a different perspective, that we can actually, build upon that genetic science based discussion, but to open ourselves up to an alternative way of looking at this that can help us really break through the limiting health, that we may be experiencing as a family as a whole, whether that's our parents or grandparents or people that we're close with. So to begin that, I want to start with talking about alchemy. What is it? It's such a old word, and actually, I was talking to my guest that's going to be coming on in the end of March, and he's like, "I love that word," and I'll tell you, the word begins back in the Renaissance, the medieval times, and I was like, "Yeah, I did some research on this," and he was sharing with me how it was, stems from a group of people back in that time who were actually mixing different types of solutions and liquids to transmute metal into gold. And they were a group of mystics. But during the time of this Renaissance and medieval era, religion, the Christianity or Catholicism was still big. And so for them to be able to practice this kind of work, it was actually looked down upon. So they kind of had to mask it in some way, and so they were kind of known as these like mystic scientists who were, transmuting things and creating elixirs, but it had a lot to do with metal into gold. So that's where alchemy comes from, and the definition really from an external point of view is it's a powerful process of changing or transforming something in a mysterious or impressive way. Okay, that's what alchemy is. But I'm also going to be offering you guys another definition, and that's a spiritual definition, and we're going to call that inner alchemy. And inner alchemy is really the pursuit of returning to source. So, ourself. It's the pursuit of returning to ourself. And it's a practice to better understand ourselves and the universe in which we live and our purpose in life. So, we're going to come from that inner alchemy definition today, because we're looking at the inner alchemy of family and friends. sorry, yes, well, we can consider our friends family, but we're looking at the inner alchemy of family and health. Okay. So when we're talking about that inner alchemy, we're talking about that pursuit, that internal pursuit to connect back to our true selves, to really better understand ourselves, the universe that we live in, and our purpose in our life. Okay. So we're thinking about that in relationship to our family and our health. Because when we don't do that in our family dynamics, it can impact our health. Hmm, really interesting that the way that we actually deal or not deal with our family units and the challenges in them to better see ourselves can actually impact our health and the health of our family generationally. So we can see for generations a trend on how family has been stuck in a pattern of dis-ease or illness. We can look back even when we take medical intake forms at doctor's offices will tell me everything your family has suffered from, and we can, as just an individual, check off almost every single box if we've got a big family, right? So why that's what we're going to be looking at today. Why? What is the deeper, more spiritual understanding or perspective of this? And what is it that our families are here for? And so, for those of you who are listening in tonight or listening onto the podcast when it drops on Friday, how many of you listening have a family member who struggles with one or more of the following, whether that's being obese, overweight, diabetes, heart disease, or maybe even alcoholism? Do we have a family member that has any struggle with any of these things? And I'm sure many of you are looking through your family tree and thinking, well, yeah, that one does, and that one does, and that one does, and my uncle does, and my aunt does. And just thinking about all the different family members that you see. And so tonight, I want to invite you to just sit back, relax, and allow yourself to go on a deeper journey with me. Allow your mind to open up. Allow your soul self to come through. There's a reason why you're tuning in. There's a reason why you're here. It's not a coincidence. It's been divinely guided. So you want to begin to tell your mind, it's okay. It's okay to have a discomfort at times and to allow my feelings to rise and to allow what's supposed to come to surface to come. I don't need to fight it. I can actually relax, sit back, and begin to go from a soul level to explore dis-ease as we begin to really open up the collective soul lessons of family within these health conditions. Okay. And how to really harmonize our inner alchemy to promote optimal health and well-being, a sense of vitality, a true, sort of feeling of health. It's all possible. And so we can look at this through the family dynamic. So as we begin tonight's show, I want to ask you this too. Do you ever, do you ever find yourself blaming your health, your weight, your behavior with food or your body on your genes? Do any of you guys ever do that? Okay? Because I can remember, and I've heard many people say before, well, I got my thighs from my mom, and I got my dad's sweet tooth, and I got my uncle's taste buds for fried food. So, just those messages alone, we hear them all the time, right? Well, it's like, yeah, well, I got my dad's eyes and I got his hair color. So why wouldn't I get his sweet tooth? And, I got my mom's nose and her smile. So why wouldn't I get her thighs, right? So we kind of start to take this conversation. Well, it runs in the family, right? It's just passed down. And yes, that's true. Generationally, we are made up of cells that that reproduce, and there is a DNA within our system. But what if I told you that we have the power to actually transform our DNA, to bring balance and harmony and alchemize the DNA or the genes that we were given to actually express our true self, our highest potential. And that has nothing to do with dis-ease, and that actually we can take the genes that we've been given that are predisposed to that and actually change the conversation so that we never inherit or actually embody to learn in order to prevent that to happen. So, wait, Elizabeth, are you telling me then that disease is an opportunity for us to learn and grow? Yes. And our way of handling or managing our family is something that can either prevent or actually express different types of diseases. Yeah, because it can affect the way that we eat and move our bodies. So, here's something that I want to share with you. And remember, with an open heart and an open mind. So we've had these things passed down to us, but we've chosen to inherit or learn in order to help us grow on a deeper level. So let me reframe that. We've chosen to inherit these types of genes, have a predisposition to learn something in order to help us grow on a deeper level. So, what if I told you our family's genetic predisposition to obesity or heart disease or diabetes or alcoholism are simply an imbalance in the family's inner alchemy? So remember, inner alchemy is about our ability to reconnect to our true selves. It's that looking at our journey of really better understanding ourselves and understanding the universe in which we live in and our purpose in life. So there's a little imbalance in the inner alchemy of the family unit, and that's okay. Hello, everybody has a little imbalance in that. Like I said, I don't think I've met a family that doesn't. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing shameful about it. It's actually life. So we're just embracing a piece of life and we're saying, okay, so we want to look at this and say, so there's an imbalance in our collective ability to work through pain or hurt, or to unravel more deeply this sort of soul lessons that we're here for. So, with letting that sink in, with letting yourself kind of understand that, okay, ask yourself, do you ever have a challenging family dynamic that often results in you engaging in unhealthy behavior with food or alcohol or your body? Okay, so think about that. Have you ever had a challenging family dynamic or, relationship that actually resulted in you not being so healthy with yourself? And examples, in my own personal life, or I can relate this even back to client shares. It's like your dad upsets you. And when you're 17 and 16 years old, when you get in a fight with your dad, you hop in your car and you call up your friends and you ask them where the next party is, and you grab that six pack and those joints and you go and you get high and you drink, right? Or you get into a fight with your siblings and you find yourself, stopping at the grocery store and grabbing a big bag of M&Ms and M's and it's some chips and, a big soda and slurping it all down and, sitting and trying to work out what you're going to say to them next or how you're going to, cut them off completely. And so it's in those moments that we are actually imbalancing our inner alchemy, our ability to look at ourselves and look at what how to reconnect to source and our true self and why we're here in the universe and our purpose, and we're pushing them in. So we're imbalancing our inner alchemy just by the way that we're reacting to our family. And we want to see that we react this way because we've learned to in some way. The little babies that we come out as, we are inhibited. We don't have any inhibitions. We're pure, we're clear. What we come along with is our soul self that has remembrance of pain and hurt and things that we want to learn. But for the most part, we come through, sort of, relying on how to live based off of how we're cared for by our parents. So we learn, okay, how to react to others through that parent caregiver relationship. So if you're going through the six pack of beer or you're going for the food, then in some ways we've actually seen another person do that, or that was mirrored to us as a way to deal with pain or hurt. Okay. So, how you react to your challenges becomes a part of your life. And suddenly you can wake up then 20, 30 years later, from being 16 to 26, 36, 46, 56, and you're now as heavy as your Uncle Joe, and you're drinking at just as much as your dad, and you're now as much risk as getting diabetes or heart disease as your mom or your brother. And you're like, how did I get here? And why is it that my genes are so unfair, and my genetic predisposition of this, I've just been unblessed, right? And that simply is not true. But if we stay in that mindset and we continue with that conversation, we can manifest then a disease that's greater than what we really want. Okay. So we've all learned through previous different podcasts and discussions. You can listen to absolutely any of my episodes and know that food and the body are tools to see ourselves more deeply, to really balance that inner alchemy we're talking about, the pursuit of reconnecting to source self, our true self, who we really are, understanding the deeper reasons for why we're here in the universe. So it's an opportunity for you to think, in the midst of these challenges, why am I here with my family? Why are they here? And what choices can I make with myself in order to balance my inner self, to really create a transformation within myself that will then create a transformation in my outer self? So here's the next leg of the journey, okay? We just finished leg one, we're going into leg two. So don't worry, okay? And if we feel uncomfortable, if there's feelings coming up, just let them come, just let them rise, because that is you rebalancing yourself. So here's what I want to offer. Okay. I want to see, and I'm just checking in on the live over here to see if we have any comments. I want to see if any of you guys, so thanks for the like, Austin. If any of you guys, you know why our family challenges us. Does anyone know why, and how come they can bring so much up for us? How come family can bring so much up for us? And it can just make, it can bring all these feelings and all this emotion and anger and resentment mixed with so much love and joy. you know what do you think the lessons are with our family? What do you think the lessons are with our family? And I asked this question before I started, and Alyssa from Virginia Beach said, setting healthy boundaries, teaching this as the life skill to pass on to future family members. And yeah, that's totally true. There's so many lessons that our families serve for us. And they are one of the biggest tools to empower us to break through our perceived limitations, because they're where we got them from. They're where there are spiritual roots there. Okay. So they're the first group of people we learn from. we mirror ourselves from. Okay. So this is where we're going to go a little bit deeper. So I want everyone to just sort of allow themselves to open. So I am open. I am ready to receive. So with that, taking a nice big deep breath from a soul level, our family members often are part of a soul group we're in. They're a set of souls who travel lifetimes with us, who make agreements with us to learn our individual and collective lessons. Soul groups have a mission to rise collectively in tandem with their individual path. So think of your soul group as your soul family. Okay, they're a group of individuals that you travel lifetimes with, and they are a part of you learning your lessons. You make agreements with them. We're going to do this. You're going to come in and play this role. You're going to be that for me. And we're going to work through some of the karma and different things that we've had together so that we can actually empower to ourselves to be our highest selves, to be our best versions. And so are you up for that challenge? And people in your soul family go, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm up for it. Let's do it. Even though this is going to hurt, yeah, it's gonna hurt. But I've hurt you before, and so now to balance that, you're gonna do this, and I know it's gonna hurt, and but we need this because you're gonna learn something big from it, and I'm gonna learn something big from it. And so think of your soul group as your soul family, people you choose to act out life with because deep down you love them unconditionally and you want to see them grow. You love them unconditionally and you want to see them grow. So, our soul family members, our souls that have agreed to come into our life to help us learn and grow. That means that your earth family, mom, dad, brother, sister, maybe a close aunt, sometimes a husband, a boyfriend, maybe a really close person you've met at work who feels like family or a friend, they're a part of then your soul group. People who have come to who've agreed on helping you in some way, and sometimes it can hurt. Okay, because think about our families. They bring up so much stuff. They know how to press the trigger button. I I have an easy button in my office, but I haven't purchased the trigger button yet because I'm moving. I help people get out of the trigger buttons. But yeah, we should put that at every single family gathering, the trigger button. And every time someone gets triggered in a family gathering, I want you guys to press it. Do you know how many times we would hear trigger? It's just inevitable. So our families have come because we've agreed on, we've chosen them, we've said, you're the best player for me to actually help me learn and grow. And so they come and they know in advance what's going to push our buttons. So, our parents, we know in advance that they're going to have limitations to themselves that are actually going to drive us nuts and hurt us and create then these challenges for us. And we know that they may have learned behavior through their body and food that are actually going to predisposition us to carry extra weight or to have diabetes or heart disease or illnesses. And I can speak that from my own truth. I came into a family and they knew already how to trigger me. I mean, it was very clear that I'm unique in my family. I feel much, much, much deeper than a lot of my family members, though many of them also feel very deeply. But at a young age, I was feeling much more deeply than they knew how to really help me. And so I saw my family members dealing with challenge around, money and keeping harmony and peace within the siblings with food and alcohol. So As I got older, used food and alcohol during, when challenge came up for me, when uncomfortable feelings arose. I had learned that behavior, and very easily my body put on weight. It was just like so easy. And it was just sort of like said in the family, well, you have a bigger bone like mom, so you're going to be bigger boned. And that used to hurt me so much. That used to hurt me because I used to just think, I can never change my body. I'm never going to be beautiful. I'm always going to carry extra weight, and my genes have predispositioned me to be this way, and I'm just going to be stuck being this way. And that's literally how I felt. So we can see in this own experience here that I had come in to a family through the soul agreement, and that I had known that they were going to have limitations around their ability to share and be open with their feelings. And I had known I was going to be a very feeler, very deep, empathic, very gifted person. And I needed that kind of environment to be able to start or catalyze this conversation of my body, beauty, acceptance, self love, all these things that I would need in order to be a teacher for others. I needed that. And so I needed to balance my inner alchemy through them and learning their ways of dealing with challenge. So, learning to use food and alcohol as those ways. So, it's very easy because when I look back at my mom's side and my dad's side, generationally, their dad and their mom used food and alcohol, and their mom and their dad used food and alcohol. So we're not just talking about just this particular generation, me and my parents. We're now looking at the soul group, the family heritage, the souls collectively, now learning a larger lesson together, how to be open, how to share, to communicate, how to support one another in what we see is sometimes non-traditionally present in families across the world, where we usually just shut off and we don't talk about things and we don't support one another and we get angry and we cut people off. So we're looking now at a bigger collective soul lesson. So isn't this so cool? We're all following me, right? This is pretty easy the way I'm explaining it. So, our soul groups have a common goal in mind to keep growing and learning. So, how come families have a predisposition to obesity or diabetes or alcoholism? Well, diseases in families have spiritual roots. So, we're starting to see that, meaning there is something energetically driving them that's imbalancing them. So it's starting with a core belief or a perceived limitation or something collectively they've learned from their parents. So you see, it can go back parent to parent to parent. And we've learned our feelings and thoughts have a great power over our health and well being. So our beliefs directly influence our behavior with body, with food, with alcohol, with everything external, even relationships and career and things like that. So you can broaden that umbrella. It doesn't just sit selectively with food and body, though that's the stitch of Nourish the Soul. So when families have predispositions to dis-ease, we can now see it's rooted in a belief and that there's a soul lesson for that family as a whole, especially when you see that as a group of people. Well, her mom died of breast cancer, and her mom died of breast cancer, and her mom died of breast cancer, and her mom got, then the other one got pancreatic. And so there's a different lineage of different types of cancers. But what then is the spiritual root to that? What is it that they are not balanced in their alchemy with, their connection to source, to themselves, to the greater universe, so why we're here, that they struggle with, and that you then have chosen to come down and be a part of, so you can actually transform and rise your soul family through learning your own soul lessons. That's incredible. And I love that part of my work. The work of working with one individual client and then knowing that I have the impact to then create a greater transformation in their soul family. Okay? So we can see that families that are struggling with these types of diseases are actually looking to break through and learn. So you're here for a reason. So, would you be curious to restore your balance of your whole family's health? And would you like to empower your whole family to begin to transcend beyond their limitations of their current, health state right now? Well, I know that if you're tuning in, there's something that you're struggling with. There's something that you're being challenged by with family and your health. I can help you actually break through the limiting conversation and the idea or belief that you're holding with yourself to empower you to step into ultimate health and freedom and allow for you to move past what it is that you're ready to. Okay. And I can do that. And so many of my clients have done that. So many people that I've worked with have said, and since I've been working with you, I've been able to talk with my dad better and we don't fight anymore. And I'm not going to food to comfort myself after I get off the phone with him. And I'm able to really share more deeply with my mom about how I'm feeling. And I've lost, that attachment to thinking that, I'm just going to end up just like, her, and I can have compassion for where she's at and I can see where she is and I can help her move past her own limitations. Now, wouldn't that be so cool? Because as you do that, you actually empower your family to be healthier, to live happier, and to collectively rise in your soul family, in your group. So, how do you take action to work with me? You go to my website, it's nourishthesoul.nyc, and you click on the services tab. And in that tab, you then click I am ready. And as you click I am ready, you'll be directed to my calendar where you can link up to a date and time that works just for you. Everybody does their own scheduling. They manage their own schedule because I am believing you have been guided to me for a reason. And I am believing that I have called you forth because you're ready and that I know you're going to take the action to really help yourself. So once you do that, you're all set. And we start this incredible journey together. And we do this as a team, as a partnership, and we work in a way to really best support you at a pace that feels comfortable. And that's how easy it is to work with me. And so, guys, that is my podcast on the alchemy, the inner alchemy of family and food. I look forward to working with you. It's nourishthesoul.nyc. Thank you so much for tuning in to another fantastic show. This is Elizabeth Tripp signing out in New York City. Love and